The first time Lisa heard the growl, she thought it was just Max having a bad dream. But then it happened again, and again. Every night at exactly 3:07 a.m., their golden retriever sat outside Emily's door, his body tense, his teeth bared at something unseen. At first they dismissed it as nothing, a noise from outside, a shadow playing tricks. But then Emily started talking in her sleep. "He doesn't like my friend." Lisa's stomach twisted. "What friend?" Emily giggled softly. "The one who talks to me when you sleep." The next night Lisa stayed up, listening. The growl came right on time, but this time she heard something else, floorboards creaking. Someone was in the room. Heart pounding, she flipped on the light. The room was empty, but the closet door was open, and on the windowsill, deep, jagged scratch marks. Max kept growling, and this time so did Lisa's instincts. The first time it happened, Lisa barely noticed. A low, guttural sound echoed through the dimly lit hallway, barely loud enough to wake her. She blinked, disoriented, her ears straining in the quiet. For a moment, she thought it was part of a dream. But then, there it was again, a deep, rumbling growl. Lisa nudged David beside her. David groaned, half asleep. "It's just Max, probably dreaming." But Lisa wasn't so sure. She slipped out of bed, her bare feet meeting the cold wooden floor. The house felt different at night. Too quiet, too still. As she stepped into the hallway, the growl sharpened, turning into something more aggressive. Max stood rigid in front of Emily's door, his fur bristling, his body tense. His teeth glinted in the dim glow of the nightlight, lips curled in a silent warning. Lisa frowned. "Max, what's wrong, boy?" The dog didn't look at her. His eyes were locked on the crack under Emily's door, as if something on the other side had his full, undivided attention. Lisa's stomach tightened. She pressed a hand against the door, hesitating. Then, slowly, she turned the knob and pushed it open. Emily was fast asleep, curled beneath her pink blankets, her stuffed bunny tucked under her arm. Nothing seemed out of place, no open windows, no shadows lurking in the corners. And yet, Max didn't relax. Lisa exhaled, shaking her head. "You're just being overprotective," she whispered, scratching his head. But as she turned to leave, Emily's voice, soft and sleepy, made her freeze. "He doesn't like my friend, Mommy." Lisa felt her breath hitch. "What friend, sweetheart?" Emily giggled, eyes still closed. "The one who talks to me when you sleep." Lisa couldn't shake the uneasy feeling as she walked back to bed. Emily's words clung to her mind like a shadow, whispering doubts into the quiet night. The next evening she decided to stay awake. She and David tucked Emily in, kissed her goodnight, and turned off the lights. Everything seemed normal, until the house fell silent. Then came the growl. It started low, deep in Max's throat, as he sat at the foot of Emily's bed, ears perked, eyes locked on the darkened corner of the room. Lisa, sitting just outside in the hallway, felt a chill crawl up her spine. The air felt wrong. Then, softly, like a whisper against the walls, came the creak of the floorboards. Lisa stiffened. David was asleep. Emily was in bed. The house was still. And yet she could hear it, slow, deliberate steps moving through the room. She gripped the edge of the doorway, heart pounding. Max stood now, his growl rising into a low snarl. "Emily?" Lisa called, barely above a whisper. Her daughter stirred, rubbing her eyes. "Mommy?" Lisa forced a smile. "Go back to sleep, sweetheart." Emily yawned. "Is Max still mad at my friend?" Lisa's throat tightened. "What friend?" she asked again. Emily pointed, straight to the darkened corner where Max was still fixated, growling louder now, the hair on his back standing up. Lisa turned, her breath hitching as a shadow seemed to shift just slightly, too smoothly, as if it had been watching them. Max lunged. The room erupted in chaos, barking, Emily's startled cry, Lisa's sharp intake of breath. She flipped on the light. There was nothing there. But the closet door was open. Lisa's heart pounded as she stared at the open closet door. She was sure it had been closed when she tucked Emily in. Slowly she stepped forward, Max pressing against her leg, his body tense. With a shaky hand she reached for the handle and pulled the door fully open. Nothing. Just Emily's tiny clothes hanging neatly, a few scattered toys on the floor. But the air inside the closet felt wrong, stale, cold, like a window had been left open. Lisa swallowed hard and shut the door firmly. She turned to Emily, who sat up in bed, watching her with sleepy curiosity. "Mommy, did you see him?" Lisa forced a smile. "Sweetheart, there's no one here." Emily's expression didn't change. "He's hiding. He doesn't like the light. Lisa's stomach twisted. She didn't want to scare her daughter, but something about this was off. She tucked Emily back in, kissing her forehead, then turned to Max. His growls had stopped, but he remained on edge, still watching the closet. That night, Lisa and David checked every lock, every window. They installed cameras, hoping to catch whatever was happening. And when the footage played back the next morning, Lisa felt her blood run cold. At 3:07 a.m., Emily's window creaked open, and something thin and dark slipped inside. Max leapt at it, teeth bared, but the thing didn't fight back. It simply melted into the shadows. Lisa covered her mouth, trembling. David's voice was barely a whisper. "What the hell was that?" Lisa and David stared at the footage, their bodies frozen in horror. The shadowy figure had no clear form, just elongated limbs and a darkness that seemed to pulse like it was alive. It hovered over Emily's bed, motionless, watching her. Then, in an instant, Max attacked. The dog lunged with terrifying speed, snapping his jaws at the thing's leg. But instead of resisting, the figure collapsed into itself, twisting unnaturally before vanishing into the floor. Lisa's hands shook as she paused the video. "This isn't possible," she whispered. David exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "We need to get out of this house, tonight." They didn't waste a second. While David packed a bag, Lisa rushed to wake Emily. She scooped her up, pressing a kiss to her head. "Sweetheart, we're going to Grandma's, okay?" Emily blinked sleepily. "Why? Is he mad?" Lisa swallowed hard. "Who, baby?" Emily yawned, resting her head against Lisa's shoulder. "My friend. He said he'd come back when Max is gone." A chill ran down Lisa's spine. Max barked suddenly, fur bristling, staring at the closet again. Lisa didn't turn around. She ran. They left the house that night and never looked back. Days later, a call from the police confirmed what they feared most. The house had a dark history. Decades ago, a man had lived there, a disturbed recluse who was rumored to have taken children. He disappeared without a trace, but strange occurrences were reported ever since. Lisa clutched Emily tightly. They never returned. But even in their new home, Lisa sometimes found Emily whispering to the darkness, and every night Max still growled.